Time to go to our friend Sal Palantonio, who is in Buffalo with more on the MVP frontrunner Lamar Jackson. Good morning, Sal.
Good morning, SP. Let's get you right up to date on the Baltimore Ravens injuries. Both Marquise Brown and Marlon Humphrey, both listed as questionable, both expected to play. Lamar Jackson, a subtle change in his attitude from last week. Going into that game against the San Francisco 49ers, he was embracing the Super Bowl talk, saying, we're chasing a Super Bowl title. Now he's saying, I really don't care about the big thing until we are there. John Harbaugh trying to set the tone for this football team to go more week to week, saying, bottom line is, Week 14, number 1 seed to hoist in the Lombardi Trophy. We got a long way to go, and we've got to grind it out. As for Josh Allen, he looked at the tape of this Baltimore Ravens defense, and he said, this game will be mentally and physically exhausting. He said, I've got to go up to the line of scrimmage. I've got to identify the Mike linebacker, set the protection, and then be ready for everything. They try to trick you on defense. They try to come at you from all angles. And the bottom line is, I've got to be ready for anything. They got to be ready for the win today. Supposed to be wind gust up to 30 miles an hour by game time, SP.
Sal, that is all great info, but do you have any idea the frenzy of activity that's been going on behind you? I think there's a dog park. We've got machinery coming by. That is a true pro right there. Thanks, Sal. It looks like fun.
Heads up, Sal. Heads up, buddy.
Oh, man. For you. That's great. Look, he spent a lot of time talking about the Ravens, and for good reason. They've been so good this year. But, man, maybe one of the surprises of at least the second half of the season has been Josh Allen and how well he's been playing. So, Matt, how can Josh Allen and this Buffalo team pull off this upset today?
Well, Josh Allen, we knew about it in the Combine. He's got the best arm you've ever seen, and he's a great runner. You see his running ability in the red zone, and you see his arm talent. Him and Brown have an amazing connection on those deep balls, but that's not what impresses me most. It's really not. And yes, Sal's talking about the winds, 30 miles an hour. This guy's got the arm to cut through that kind of a wind. That's not what impresses me most. What impresses me most is how he's composed. Check this out. It's an all-out blitz. He's looking for the red 7, hot route. They're trying to bait him into throwing the hot route right there to the tight end. Look at those 3 defenders. He's composed, quick reset, and I'm saying Maryland's known for crab cakes. Touchdown. Take those crab cakes. This guy is really impressive. Where he was at Wyoming intellectually to where he is right now in Buffalo, he is so much better. I got to give a ton of credit to that, to Brian Daboll and to that staff for getting him ready. He's playing like a vet, even though he's a rookie. And you mentioned it. These 2 quarterbacks today are playing the best out of that draft class. I think that is surprising, but it's clearly evident when you look at the tape.
No, and you talked about it before. Look, this guy was a freak. When he came out, I have never seen a guy with more upside than Josh Allen. And when you look at it, you talk about that arm strength, the athleticism. How athletic is he in the red zone that you talked about? I don't know. He's got more rushing touchdowns than Lamar Jackson does. These are the 2 best runners at the position, and they can throw. I don't care. These conditions, most quarterbacks, no way. They can't get it done in these kind of conditions. These 2, though, they can do it. And to me, I'm excited about, this game, watching these 2 young quarterbacks go at it.
You said something last night, Rex. You said that, Lamar's runs are designed runs, and Josh Allen's runs are scrambles, except for, you said, in the red zone. And you were mentioning how hard that is to defend when you also have to defend the quarterback as a runner, as a designed runner in the red zone.
Yeah, you got to jump up from coverage to possibly get on that quarterback that's scrambling, and behind you is a wide open receiver now.
Yeah, 11-on-11 football. That's what both these teams are going to. Super hard to defend. The only difference that I see with these 2 guys, one knows how to protect himself and the other doesn't. Josh Allen is like, oh, my God, would you please learn how to slide, learn how to protect yourself a little bit, because that's why and that's why I don't think Buffalo and Brian Daboll, they don't have the quarterback running games unless it's for touchdowns. And I think if this kid learns how to protect himself, we're going to see more of this same type of Lamar Jackson type offense.
That's why y'all need to pump y'all's brakes a little bit.
I'll pump them. I'll pump that brake. Let me get it for you, Mark.
On this Josh Allen. You know, there is a comparison athletically between the two quarterbacks, but when you're talking about, you know, the MVP of this season going against Josh Allen. Yes, both of them are young, but we have seen sporadic play in Josh Allen. We don't know what type of Josh Allen we're getting today. Yes, we know what the Buffalo Bills are doing, but when you talk about the quarterback play from Josh Allen, will he come in today and lead his team to victory, or is he going to come in today knowing that he has Lamar Jackson, and how dynamic he is out of the pocket? Is he going to try to be too cute today at home against this Baltimore Ravens defense? You heard the win streak, 3-game win streak, 8-game win streak. You have two young quarterbacks. I do not want Josh Allen and Coach Daboll to get too cute today, knowing that you're trying to put too much on his plate because he knows what's on that other side.
Yeah, and listening, I mean, I want to get a little big picture here on the Ravens, because listening to Sal and how he talked to John Harbaugh, and he talked about one game at a time, and I just think it's crucial for them to cash in this year with this type of system, with this type of run game, because out of all the great defenses that I've seen go up against this system, they still don't know. They look like they don't know what they're doing. Right? They don't have the responsibilities down because the more they see it, and then there's that one team that figures it out and shows this is what you have to do: dive, pitch, quarterback, play action, pass, all of that stuff, and it stopped. I think there's a possibility of it to slow down. So cash in now, because I don't think it can be figured out this season, because when you see it for the first time, like the Buffalo Bills are about to see it, there's going to be a shock value to it, to where they come off the sideline like, man, I don't know who has the ball, and the ball fakes are too good. And by the way, that quarterback, he's too fast.
Well, we saw the template for this happening last year with the Rams.
Exactly.
When everyone was like, what in the world is this? How do we handle this?
Yes.
And then we've seen what's happened so far this year. You guys are talking about Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. We are going to have Kirk Herbstreit and David Pollack later in the show, two guys that followed them throughout their college careers, to talk more about this game. Speaking of our college friends, yeah, in case you didn't know,
Go
the countdown clock is on.
Get it
You know
right,
who you're
Randy,
for.
go Tigers.
App State.
Yeah, sure. We'll go with it. Trips to the Peach and Fiesta Bowl on the line. Who's in and who's out? It's all coming up in about 2.5 hours. But for now, Adam, what do you have coming up in the show?
All right, Sam, despite the turmoil in Dallas, Jerry Jones is not prepared to make a coaching change just yet. We'll have more on the count.
By Chris Mortensen and Adam Schefter. Guys, a lot of stories I know you're working on right now. One of the biggest stories this week, yet again, was about Jason Garrett and his time in Dallas. Mort, what are you hearing right now?
Yeah, especially after the Thursday night, kind of a one-sided loss that was by one touchdown, that you see the intensity ramped up now, and Jerry Jones, the owner. Jerry Jones came into the league, and his role model and mentor was Al Davis of the Raiders, who believed that the shelf life of a head coach is 10 years. Guess what? This is Jason Garrett's 10th year. They can still win this division, the NFC East, despite losing 3 straight. And the NFL Coaching Advisory Committee unleashed its list recently. And on that list, Baylor's Matt Rule and Oklahoma's Lincoln Riley, 2 college coaches. And oh, by the way, Jerry has only won Super Bowls with college coaches, Jimmy Johnson and Barry Switzer.
And more, despite the fact that the Dallas Cowboys are under 500, and despite the fact that there are calls in the public for the NFL to reseed its playoffs so that a team like Dallas or Philadelphia doesn't host a playoff game this year, while a team like San Francisco or Minnesota goes on the road, that is not going to happen. One league source said this week there's been zero discussion about reseeding the playoffs, and so while it continues to come up in conversations in the public and in the media, it has not generated any steam in the NFL, and that will not happen. The playoff system will stay the way it is, at least for now.
And the last coach to actually win his division with a sub-500 playoff record was Ron Rivera, who was fired Tuesday by Dave Tepper, the owner who purchased the Panthers for about $2.5 billion more than a year ago. Rivera was allowed to address his team. Tepper said he was freeing him up to go do some work. In the meantime, General Manager Marty Herney appears to be safe, but they'll add a couple other pieces to that front office.
And more, one player whose name will come up this offseason is Cam Newton. But at this point in time, before they hire a head coach, the Panthers are inclined to keep Cam Newton. And they're inclined to keep him because he's scheduled to make $18.6 million next season. That, they believe, is a value. And with his skill set and his talents and his price tag, they'd like to hold on to Cam Newton, depending on what the new head coach there says and thinks. But right now the thinking is hold Cam.
And Sam, by the way, you know, Ron Rivera went to the Super Bowl with Cam in 2015. And Rivera, by the way, already activity there in terms of teams that have behind the scenes expressing interest.
Yeah, that's certainly not surprising. It was really cool to hear this week all the players talk about their love for Ron Rivera. It's going to be strange to see him out there today. First time the Carolina Panthers have played without Ron Rivera since